Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Anna, and I am so happy you are here with us today. This podcast is made for beginner English learners, and every episode is simple, fun, and useful. Today, we have a really important and motivating topic. We're going to talk about not wasting your time. Time is the one thing we all have equally. Everyone gets 24 hours in a day, but how we use those hours makes a huge difference in our lives. I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Mark. Mark, say hello and tell us, do you ever feel like you are wasting time?
Hello. Thank you, Anna. Hi to all our wonderful listeners. Do I ever feel like I'm wasting time? Honestly, yes, sometimes. I think everyone does. But over the years, I've learned a lot about how to use time more wisely and how to recognize when I'm letting it slip away. Today, Anna and I are going to talk about what it means to waste time, why we do it, how to stop, and how to use your time in ways that make you feel happy, productive, and fulfilled. We will also give you lots of useful English vocabulary and phrases.
Let's start with the basics. What does it mean to waste time? To waste time means to spend time on things that are not useful, important, or meaningful, things that do not help you grow, achieve your goals, or make you happy. The opposite of wasting time is using time well, or spending time productively. Some useful English vocabulary for this topic: productive, doing something useful and getting good results. Efficient, completing tasks with the least amount of time or effort wasted. Priority, something that is more important than other things. Procrastinate, to delay doing something, especially something you should do.
Great vocabulary to start with. The most common ways people waste time are quite relatable. Scrolling endlessly through social media, watching videos and reading posts without any clear purpose, sometimes for hours. Watching TV programs you do not even really enjoy just because the TV is on. Doing small, easy tasks to avoid a bigger, more difficult one. This is called procrastination. Saying yes to things you do not want to do and spending time on other people's priorities instead of your own. Overthinking, spending so much time worrying about decisions that you never actually make them. And waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions before starting something important.
Waiting for the perfect moment. I definitely recognize that one. Now let's talk about why we waste time, because understanding the reason is the first step to changing the habit. There are several common reasons. First, fear. When we are afraid of failure or of not doing something perfectly, we avoid starting. Second, lack of clear goals. If you do not know what you want to achieve, it is very easy to fill your time with unimportant activities. Third, low energy. When we are tired, we tend to choose easy, passive activities rather than meaningful ones. Fourth, distractions. Our phones, notifications, and the internet are designed to grab and hold our attention.
The psychology of wasting time is very interesting. One important reason is what psychologists call instant gratification, choosing something that feels good right now even if it doesn't help you long term. Watching a funny video feels good instantly. Working on a difficult project feels hard now but rewarding later. Our brains are naturally attracted to the easy, immediate reward. Another reason is mental fatigue. When your brain is tired from working hard, it seeks rest through distraction rather than productive rest. Also, lack of structure means without a plan or routine, time easily disappears. And finally, some people waste time because they are simply not aware of how much time they are losing.
Tracking your time? That sounds both scary and extremely useful. Now let's talk about the phrase, "don't waste your time," more directly. This phrase can be used in different ways in English. Sometimes we say it as encouragement. Don't waste your time worrying about things you cannot change. Sometimes we say it as advice. Don't waste your time with people who do not appreciate you. And sometimes we say it to warn someone. Don't waste your time on that project. It will never work. The phrase is very flexible and comes up in many different conversations. Mark, can you give our listeners more examples of how we use this phrase naturally in everyday English conversations?
Sure. Here are many natural examples of don't waste your time in everyday use. Don't waste your time watching that show. It is really not good. Don't waste your time explaining it to him. He has already made up his mind. I realized I was wasting my time at that job. He was going nowhere. Stop wasting time on social media and do your homework. She doesn't waste any time. She always gets straight to the point. This is actually a compliment, meaning she's very efficient. I wasted 2 hours trying to fix it, and it wasn't even necessary. Every minute you waste worrying is a minute you could spend doing.
Those examples are perfect. I especially love "she gets straight to the point." What a great compliment for an efficient person. Now, let's talk about time management, because this is one of the most important skills for not wasting time. Time management means planning and controlling how you spend your hours to make sure you achieve your goals and priorities. Some key time management strategies: making a to-do list, writing down everything you need to do, setting priorities, deciding which tasks are most important and doing those first, using a schedule or planner, assigning specific times to specific tasks, breaking large tasks into small steps so they feel less overwhelming.
Yes, time management is something I think about every day. My personal system is quite simple. Every evening, I write a short list of the 3 most important things I want to achieve the next day. Just 3, not 20. Keeping the list short forces me to think carefully about what really matters. In the morning, I do the most difficult or most important task first, before I check emails or social media. This is called eating the frog, doing the hardest thing first so everything else feels easy afterward. I also use a simple timer technique, working for 25 minutes without distraction, then taking a 5-minute break. This is called the Pomodoro technique.
Eating the frog. What a vivid and memorable phrase. Now, let's talk about the difference between being busy and being productive, because these are not the same thing. Many people are very busy all day, but do not actually achieve much that is truly important or meaningful. Being busy means your time is full of activity. Being productive means your activity is leading to real results and progress toward your goals. In English, we have a useful expression: working smarter, not harder. This means focusing your effort on the things that actually matter, rather than filling your day with tasks that keep you busy but do not move you forward.
The difference is so important. Here is a clear example. Imagine 2 students. Student A studies for 5 hours, but spends most of that time looking at her phone, reorganizing her notes, and making her workspace look nice. She feels very busy, but she does not learn much. Student B studies for 2 hours with complete focus, no phone, clear goals, active reading. She feels less busy, but she learns much more. Student B is productive. Student A is just busy. Another example, a person who attends many meetings at work all day long might feel very busy, but if those meetings do not lead to decisions or progress, they are not productive.
Am I making progress toward what actually matters to me? What a powerful question to ask yourself. Now, let's talk about procrastination in more detail, because this is one of the biggest reasons people waste time. Procrastination means delaying or postponing tasks, especially important ones, in favor of easier or more enjoyable activities. Almost everyone procrastinates sometimes, but chronic procrastination, doing it all the time, can seriously harm your productivity, your career, and even your mental health. The feeling of having unfinished tasks hanging over you is very stressful. In English, common procrastination phrases include, "I will do it later," "I will start tomorrow," "I'm not in the mood right now," "I will wait until..."
Procrastination is such a common struggle. The main reason people procrastinate is that the task feels uncomfortable, too difficult, too boring, too overwhelming, or too connected to a fear of failure or judgment. The brain avoids discomfort instinctively. The trick is to make starting easier, not finishing. The hardest part of any task is almost always the beginning, so one powerful strategy is commit to doing just 2 minutes of the task, just 2 minutes. Often once you start, momentum builds and you continue naturally. Another strategy is to remove temptations. Put your phone in another room, close unnecessary browser tabs, and create a distraction-free environment. And remind yourself how good it feels to finish something.
Commit to just 2 minutes. Such a clever and practical strategy. Just starting is often the hardest part, and once you begin, it becomes much easier to continue. Now, let's talk about something many people find difficult: saying no. One of the biggest ways people waste time is by saying yes to things they do not want to do, helping with tasks that are not their responsibility, attending events they don't enjoy, or taking on extra work when they are already too busy. Learning to say no kindly but clearly is an essential skill for protecting your time.
Saying no is a skill that takes practice, but it gets easier. Here are some natural, polite ways to say no. I really appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. I'm sorry, I already have plans. That sounds interesting, but it's not the right time for me. I need to protect my time at the moment. I'm going to have to pass on this one, but thank you. An important mindset shift is remembering that every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you are saying no to something you do. Your time and energy are limited and valuable.
If it is not a clear yes, it is a no. I love that rule. Now, let's talk about the role of habits in time management, because our daily habits have an enormous impact on how productively we use our time. A habit is something you do regularly, almost automatically, without thinking. Good habits, like waking up early, exercising in the morning, or spending the first hour of your day on important work, save time and build consistency. Bad habits, like checking your phone first thing in the morning, staying up too late, or skipping planned tasks, waste time and reduce your energy.
My most important time-protecting habit is my morning routine. I wake up at the same time every day, no snoozing the alarm. The first 30 minutes of my morning are screen-free. I drink water, stretch gently, and think about what I want to achieve that day. This calm, intentional start sets a positive tone for the whole day. Another important habit, I batch similar tasks together. For example, I check and reply to all emails at specific times, not constantly throughout the day. Constantly checking emails and messages is one of the biggest time wasters in modern life.
Screen-free mornings and batching tasks, both such practical and effective habits. Now let's talk about distractions, because distractions are one of the greatest enemies of good time use in the modern world. A distraction is anything that takes your attention away from what you are supposed to be doing. In today's world, the biggest distractions are smartphones, especially social media apps and notifications, the internet, easy to start browsing for one thing and find yourself reading something completely unrelated 30 minutes later, television, background noise and interruptions from other people, and our own wandering thoughts. Research shows that after a distraction, it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully return to a focused state.
Managing distractions is something I work on constantly. My most effective strategies? First, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb mode when I need to focus, or I physically leave it in another room. Out of sight really does mean out of mind. Second, I use website blocking apps during work sessions. These prevent me from visiting distracting sites like social media. Third, I communicate my focus time to the people around me, letting them know I need uninterrupted time so they do not disturb me unnecessarily. Fourth, I work in blocks of focus time with short breaks so my brain gets scheduled rest rather than seeking distraction randomly.
A distraction list for random thoughts, that is genius. Writing ideas down instead of chasing them in your head keeps you focused and does not lose the thought. Now let's talk about social media and screen time specifically, because this is probably the most common time waster for people today. Research shows that the average person spends about 6 to 7 hours per day looking at screens, phones, computers, and televisions. Social media platforms are specifically designed to keep you scrolling as long as possible, using psychology to trigger dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical, with every notification, like, and new post.
My relationship with social media has changed a lot over the years. I used to scroll mindlessly for long periods and feel vaguely empty afterward. Now I approach it much more intentionally. I deleted most social media apps from my phone and only access them on my computer at specific limited times. I set a daily 30-minute limit for social media, enough to stay connected without losing hours. I also regularly ask myself, is this adding value to my life or am I just passing time? If the honest answer is the second one, I put the phone down.
The feeling without the substance. That is such a powerful and honest description of mindless scrolling. Now let's talk about the value of rest and leisure, because not all non-productive time is wasted time. This is a really important distinction. Rest is necessary and healthy. Your brain and body need recovery time to function well. Leisure activities that bring you joy, reading, cooking, spending time with loved ones, walking in nature, are not wasted time at all. They restore your energy, nurture your creativity, and contribute to your overall well-being and happiness. The key difference is intentionality. Choosing to relax and enjoy yourself is very different from mindlessly drifting from one distraction to another.
Restorative rest is so important and so different from passive time wasting. Here's the distinction I use. Genuine rest leaves you feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to engage with life again. True leisure activities are ones you actively choose because they bring you real joy or restoration. For me, restorative activities include sleeping 8 hours and taking short walks, reading books that genuinely interest me, cooking a new recipe, having meaningful conversations with friends, spending time in nature, and doing absolutely nothing, sitting quietly, thinking, watching the world. What does not restore me? Scrolling social media, watching TV I'm not truly enjoying, or staying in bed beyond what my body actually needs.
After this activity, do I feel better or worse? The perfect test for genuine rest versus time wasting. Now let's talk about goals and time, because having clear goals is one of the most powerful motivators for using time well. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, it is much easier to make decisions about how to spend your time. A useful framework for setting goals is the SMART system. SMART stands for specific, clearly defined, not vague; measurable, you can track your progress; achievable, realistic, not impossible; relevant, connected to what truly matters to you; and time-bound, with a deadline.
Clear goals are transformative for time management. When you have a specific goal with a deadline, every day becomes clearer. You can look at any activity and ask, does this bring me closer to my goal or does it not? If the answer is no, you can choose to spend less time on it. Goals also create motivation and momentum. Progress toward a meaningful goal feels very different from just being busy. Even small daily progress builds confidence and energy. For language learners especially, having a clear goal like, I want to hold a 5-minute conversation in English by the end of this month is so much more motivating and actionable than just, I want to improve my Eng.
Time as a tool for building the life you want. What a beautiful way to think about it. Now, let's do a fun quiz for our listeners. I will describe a situation, and Mark will say whether this person is wasting time or using their time well, and why. Ready? Situation 1. Maria has a big exam in 3 days. She sits down to study, but first spends 20 minutes tidying her desk, sharpening all her pencils, organizing her notes by color, and making a cup of tea. Then she checks her phone briefly. Then she thinks about what to study first. After an hour, she has not actually studied anything. Listeners, what do you think?
Maria is definitely wasting her time, in a very common and recognizable way. What Maria is doing is called productive procrastination, doing tasks that feel useful and organized, but are actually just ways of avoiding the real task, which is studying. Tidying her desk and color-coding her notes feel productive, but they are not the priority right now. The exam is the priority. This pattern is very common because our brains like to do easy, satisfying tasks to avoid the more difficult but more important one. The solution for Maria: set a timer for 25 minutes, open the textbook to the first topic and begin, even if she does not feel completely ready.
Starting imperfectly is always better than waiting perfectly and never beginning. Perfect advice for Maria and for all of us. Now, situation 2 for our quiz. James finishes work at 6 in the evening. He comes home, changes his clothes, and goes for a 30-minute run. Then he cooks a simple dinner while listening to an English podcast. After dinner, he reads a book for 45 minutes. Then he calls his mother for 20 minutes. At 9:30, he puts his phone away and goes to bed at 10:30. Listeners, is James wasting his time? Think about it. His evening seems full of activities, but are they meaningful? Mark, what is your verdict this time?
James is absolutely using his time beautifully. Every activity in his evening is intentional and restorative. Exercise, excellent for physical and mental health. Cooking while listening to a podcast, multitasking in a genuinely useful way, enjoying a skill and learning at the same time. Reading, personal growth, and genuine relaxation. Calling his mother, maintaining an important relationship, and going to bed at a reasonable hour, protecting his sleep and energy for tomorrow. None of these activities is passive or mindless. James is choosing activities that serve his health, his learning, his relationships, and his well-being. This is the ideal evening, not because it is perfect, but because every choice is deliberate and meaningful.
James is my new role model for evenings. Now let's talk about something that many people struggle with, the fear of missing out, or FOMO. FOMO is a common modern feeling, the anxiety that other people are doing exciting things and you're missing out by not being there or not being involved. FOMO often drives people to waste enormous amounts of time on social media, checking what others are doing, attending events they do not truly want to attend, or constantly looking at their phone. The solution to FOMO is sometimes called JOMO, the joy of missing out. This means finding genuine contentment and peace in your own choices, even when others are doing something different.
FOMO is very real, and I have definitely experienced it. The turning point for me was realizing that social media only shows the highlights of people's lives, the best moments, the most exciting experiences. It's never the full picture. So comparing your ordinary Tuesday to someone else's curated holiday photos is always going to make your life seem less interesting, even when your life is actually wonderful. I now practice JOMO very deliberately. When I choose to stay home and read instead of going to a loud party, I enjoy that choice fully, rather than wondering what I'm missing.
Comparison is the thief of joy. That is one of my favorite English expressions. And presence is the antidote to FOMO. What a beautiful and wise thought. Now let's talk about the relationship between time and energy, because managing your energy is just as important as managing your time. You might have 24 hours in a day, but if you spend them exhausted and unfocused, you will not use them well. Understanding when your energy is highest, when you feel most alert, creative, and motivated, is very useful for scheduling your most important tasks at those times. For most people, energy is highest in the morning.
Energy management is something I think about a lot. I have noticed clear patterns in my own energy. My mental energy is highest in the morning. This is when I do my most creative and demanding work. I protect this time fiercely. No emails, no social media, no meetings if possible. Mid-afternoon, around 2 or 3 o'clock, my energy naturally dips. This is normal. Our bodies have a biological tendency toward a rest period in early afternoon. Instead of fighting it with caffeine, I use this time for lighter tasks, responding to emails, attending meetings, or doing administrative work. In the late afternoon, energy often rises again for several hours.
Working with your natural energy rhythms, what a smart and practical approach. Now let's give our listeners some final practical tips for not wasting time. These are simple, actionable steps they can start using immediately. Tip 1. Start each day by identifying your top 3 priorities. Tip 2. Do the most important task first before distractions begin. Tip 3. Put your phone away during focused work time. Tip 4. Use a timer. Work in focused blocks with short breaks. Tip 5. Track your time for 1 week. Write down what you do each hour. The results might surprise you. Tip 6. Learn to say no kindly but clearly.
More practical tips. Tip 8. Set specific times for checking emails and social media, not continuously throughout the day. Tip 9. Get enough sleep. A tired mind wastes far more time than a rested one. Tip 10. Remove apps from your phone that consume time without adding value. Tip 11. Plan your week on Sunday evening. Knowing your schedule reduces decision fatigue during the week. Tip 12. Stop multitasking. Research shows that doing 2 things at once means doing them both worse. Focus on one thing at a time. Tip 13. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Getting 80% of something done is far better than planning a perfect version forever.
Every hour is an hour of your one precious life. That is perhaps the most important reminder of the entire episode. Let me now give a final summary of everything we talked about today. We discussed what it means to waste time and why people do it: fear, lack of goals, distractions, and procrastination. We talked about the difference between being busy and being productive. We explored procrastination and practical strategies to overcome it. We discussed saying no, daily habits, distractions, social media, and the value of true rest. We talked about SMART goals, energy management, FOMO and JOMO, and we did a fun quiz with Maria and James.
Thank you so much, Anna. This was one of my favorite episodes. And a huge thank you to every single listener who spent this time with us today. And what an appropriate topic that is. You chose to spend time listening to this podcast, learning English, and thinking about how to live more intentionally. That is already an excellent use of your time. Take today's ideas and try just 1 or 2 of them this week. Put your phone away for 1 hour. Write your top 3 priorities tomorrow morning. Say no to one thing that does not serve you. Small changes made consistently create enormous transformations over time.